What's going on, everyone? So, two players that were really going after it as far as the backup shooting guard position was Max Christie and Cam Reddish. And we finally got to see these two just display their talents for the Lakers over the course of the preseason. And they both had their ups and downs, right? And going into preseason, a lot of the conversation, a lot of the talk was that Max Christie was the guy that the Lakers are most high on. But Cam Reddish is a guy that has a lot of talent, a lot of intangibles, and a guy that could really make a case for even a very significant role, right? Now, when you look at the two as far as like comparisons go, you have Cam Reddish, who is 24 years old, still extremely young, and you have Max Christie, who's 20 years old. One is 6'6", 6'7", the other one is 6'8", right? They both have great wingspans. They both do very different things. Cam Reddish is a little more explosive, right? A little stockier, a little bigger, but he's also older. He's also 4 years older. Max Christie, he is a guy that is the better three-point shooter, a guy that you can make an argument makes more sense as far as like just filling out the role alongside a LeBron James and Austin Reeves, a D'Lo, things like that. Where Cam Reddish, he's not a great three-point shooter, but he's a guy that can put the ball on the deck, get to the basket, finish through contact, right? Be very physical. Both guys are very good defensively. Cam Reddish is more versatile defensively just because of his size and his length. He can guard essentially 1 through 4, and even in some cases 5s if he got switched on an island with that 7'2" wingspan, where Max Christie, you're kind of looking at him, basically 1 through 3, depending on the 4. He could probably switch in a spot, but he doesn't really have the size that many 4s have. So more likely than not, you're kind of having him defend 1 through 3s. So there's an argument both ways for either of these guys. And I've even talked about, like, I could see the Lakers potentially having like split minutes for them, right? Maybe even alternating them one game, one game the other, or like let's say there's 25 minutes in the backup role, right? Behind Reeves. Well, maybe you do like 12 minutes Max Christie, 13 minutes Reddish. And then the next game you switch that and go, 13 minutes Christie, 12 minutes Reddish. And there was a lot of hope and a lot of excitement for both Max Christie and Cam Reddish. And Max Christie is the draft guy, right? He's the homegrown guy that the Lakers are hoping can evolve and they believe is the next superstar in the making. Cam Reddish is the new acquisition that the Lakers have sought after for years now, have actually tried to trade for him on numerous occasions, right? Cam Reddish is the kind of guy that you feel like just watching his career and watching him play, he just needed the opportunity. He just needed the role. He just needed to be in a place that accepted him and wanted him. And what we got from these two was both good and bad. Starting with Cam Reddish, right? He, especially the first game, was atrocious. He had some games where he picked it up and looked good. And then he has a consistent issue that we've seen over preseason. And at times, Cam Reddish looks every bit the part. He's got the good size. He's explosive. He can get to the rim essentially at will at times, it looks like. And, he's a guy that can defend and get after it at a high level. We saw him just everywhere on the defensive side and was actually very impressive on the defensive end of the basketball, working hard, getting after it, being resilient, being consistent, got a couple steals, right? Like, you could see his size kind of overwhelm some of these players. But he looked very uncoordinated at times and looked out of sorts at times. Just couldn't take care of the basketball. It's like he, at times, almost like he forgot how to dribble. He was out there looking like Jaylen Brown, for those that know. But, in all seriousness, it's like, it's almost like he was trying to do too much to create a shot for himself rather than just like sticking within the offense. And I get he has that level of I need to impress. I'm trying to earn a spot here on this team that is very deep. I don't want to kind of be the odd man out. And he just had moments, and a lot of moments, in my opinion, where he just looked very rough. And it sucks because, look, I am super high on Cam Reddish. I have hyped up Cam Reddish tremendously. I am heavily rooting for Cam Reddish. Like, I think he's a guy that has hopefully a long-term place on the Lakers. And I still want him to. I still believe that he has a lot of potential. I know some people are willing to write him off already and, waive Cam Reddish and get him off the team and blah, blah. No. Like, he was a project. If you know Cam Reddish, you knew he was a project the moment the Lakers signed him. Nobody thought Cam Reddish was going to come in and be Michael Jordan this year, right? You knew that, like, okay, this is a guy that could have an impact, actually play some quality minutes, play some defense, hit some shots, but you're not playing him 30 minutes a game. Like, there was never a thought where Cam Reddish was going to get crazy minutes. It's like, okay, you could see him maybe playing 15 to 20 minutes on any given night, but he's not a guy that's going to be playing heavy. He's not going to be closing games. He's not going to be starting for the Lakers, anything like that. And he just looked, again, very out of sorts. And I also think some of it was like he started off so poorly in that first game that it almost felt like he was trying to play catch up. And in my opinion, it cost him. And from what we saw, it just, there was more bad than good, in my opinion. There were real bright moments, right? There's definitely the foundation there to work on and build and get him into the rotation. Maybe even this year, right? Like, I'm not saying like, oh, that's it. Put him at the end of the bench and never play the guy. No, I definitely think he has some really great qualities that the Lakers could really use and need. And like, look at like Rui Hachimura, for example, right? Lakers get Rui Hachimura. He was rough when he first came to Lakers. Completely fell out of the rotation for a team that was desperate for size. And worked hard, got back into the rotation, and turned out to be one of the biggest pieces for us and earned himself a payday. If Cam Reddish continues to do the work, continues to adapt and evolve, kind of settles in a little bit, I can see him getting back into the rotation and actually being a key contributor. But you look at Max Christie. Again, lots of pros and cons, right? There were games where he looked brilliant. That first game, I mean, he looked like he was, watch out. Like this dude is ready to be Austin Reeves 2.0 this year. He's ready to take that next step. He's ready to take that next leap. Then he had a couple struggling games, and then he had a couple nice moment games, right? But when you look at Max Christie and you look at what he is capable of and what he's done so far, he, in my opinion, has shown to be more consistent in what we need. He had more standout games, right? Like even the game against Phoenix, right? The last game of the season. He played 21 minutes, shot 50% from the field, 66% from three, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He got 1 block, 1 steal. Only 1 turnover, was a +4. Is getting after at both sides of the basketball. Defensively, he's been solid. He's had his moments where, he's just missed an assignment or something like that. Same thing with Cam Reddish. But Max Christie's also 20 years old. That's going to happen. And same thing with Max Christie. You're not playing him heavy minutes, right? He's not playing 30 plus minutes a game. Again, it's spots where he's going to play 15 to 20 minutes here and there. But Max Christie has continued to show that he's the better shooter, but he still has the ability to put the ball on the deck, get to the rim. Not only does he have the ability to put the ball on the deck, get to the rim, he can also stop on a dime, operate, hit in the mid-range. He has shown the ability to be a 3-level scorer. We know Cam Reddish is capable of that, but he has really struggled. Again, even in the Phoenix game, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 4 turnovers. Max Christie is taking care of the basketball. He's not turning the ball over. He seems to be more comfortable and confident out there. He kind of gets in his own head a little bit at times. But again, 20 years old, it is to be expected. Max Christie, in my opinion, earned that backup shooting guard spot if you have to look at one of those two. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to go with either. I mean, you could, Darvin Ham experimented with Taurean Prince at the 2, which is something that I've talked about heavily. They could always just do that. I think that Darvin Ham will give Max Christie and Cam Reddish opportunities throughout the course of the regular season. I don't think either of these guys are just going to get tucked away and never see the light of day. I don't think that happens. But Max Christie, in my opinion, showed more consistency and what we need in that type of backup role. Play hard defense, get after it, use your energy, your youth, your athleticism, knock down the open shot, and occasionally go and make a play for yourself, right? And I just think Max Christie is that better option from what we've seen. Both of these guys, again, had great moments. Both of these guys had very bad, struggling moments. But I just think Max Christie, if you look at the body of work from both of these guys, and you look at like, okay, well, what would be the best fit? What would be the best role and opportunity for one of these guys? Max Christie, I think, fits that need and mold more, right? I think Max Christie, you can put in the game for 15 minutes. You can trust him. You can rely on him. He's not going to turn the ball over. You know, he's gonna play within the offense. He's not going to try to do too much. He's going to do just enough. He's going to get after it defensively. He's going to use his youth and athleticism. He's going to do what is asked of him. Where Cam Reddish, to me, Cam Reddish is a bit more of a question mark. I think we've seen enough from Max Christie to know what to expect. And I'm not even talking about like shooting wise and, you know, having a good night or bad night, right? Both of these guys I don't think are going to be hyper consistent offensively. But it's about, what about the other stuff, right? Where Cam Reddish, I think, is a bigger question mark. I think he's going to have his struggles offensively on any given night. I do think he defensively will be great. So, I mean, even if you just want to use him as like a defensive assignment type guy, I think you can do that. But it's him and his ability to not take care of the basketball all preseason in the games that he played at least. I mean, he was heavy turnovers, right? He didn't look comfortable out there on the basketball court, which is strange because, I mean, this is a guy that can score the basketball. It's a guy who most of his game is relied on putting the ball on the deck and getting to the hoop, knocking down the mid-range, stuff like that, like the stuff that he was trying to do for the Lakers. And I don't know if it was just he had such a rough first game, and it didn't help that then he followed that up by rolling his ankle, that he felt like, okay, I'm behind the 8 ball here. I need to catch up and try to do too much. And that's what it was. And maybe it's as simple as like just Darvin Ham continuing to instill confidence in Cam Reddish and just saying like, hey, you know, I know the player that you are. Like, take a breath, take a step back. Like, it'll be okay. I don't know really what the answer is, but I just think if you're going with either of these guys, I think you got to go with Max Christie. I just think what Max Christie displayed is somebody that will fill the role in a more consistent manner than Cam Reddish will, just based on what we saw. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass a question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. I gave you mine, and look, I love both of these guys, and I still think both of them play. I'm not saying that like you go with Max Christie and that means Cam Reddish that's it. He's completely out of the rotation, where you just bury him at the bench and he never sees the light of day. No, I don't think that. But I think if you like, again, let's say there's 25 minutes. I think you're giving Christie the 15 and you're giving Reddish the 10, if that, you know. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below.